So before I get the motor ready to start for the first time, I figured I would drop the transmission pan, replace the filter, the gasket, and the fluids. The pan looks like so. There's some grit in the bottom, but that might have been from me pouring it out. The bottom of the transmission is absolutely filthy. So there's a possibility that I made this mess. At least these big chunks. Yeah, this is dirt. Aside from that, it doesn't look terribly bad. And there's a little bit of clutch material in here, but I don't see anything terrible. So anyway, I'll get this cleaned out. Clean the underside of the pan as well. Put a new gasket, filter on, and fill it back up with fluid. And I'll call that done for the transmission. I'm getting ready to prep the motor for its first start after the rebuild. And in order to make things a little simpler, I've put the radiator core support back in so that I can install the battery tray, which is new. That way I can safely store the battery while I'm messing around. So I got the alternator water pump and crank pulley installed and lined up. At least I think they're lined up. I'll have to double check that. It'll look alright. This is the first time I've gotten a belt on here, so. Yeah, they seem lined up okay. And on the back side of the alternator, got the ground. I tighten up the positive in the starter. And then I gotta run a wire off the solenoid for ignition. And then I think I'll be good enough to crank it over for the first time. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that'll reach just fine. Run it this way. Clamp right here. I'm not going to trust the thing. That. And I'm looking for this. Maybe something like that. Alright. Now, this is a little bit weird. I didn't notice it until after I got it home, but positive wire, battery cable, with a black wire coming off. I guess that would be for a charger, but nevertheless. Why black? Should be red. All right. Alright, that's good. Alright, well, I guess the only thing left to do is put my trigger on the solenoid and see what happens. Alright, what do we got now? Alright, so we're on the starter solenoid. Take this guy back over here. Battery. Make sure that's a little nice and tight. Let's see what happens now. Well, it turns. All right. It sounds horrible, but it spins. I'd call that a success. For now. Alright, what else we gotta button up? So I need fuel line. I gotta set the distributor. I want to put some zinc additive in the oil before I crank on it too much more. Yeah, I think I'll do those two things next. So, I'm going to add, what's this, 1 pint. I'm going to put in a pint of this stuff. It says 1 bottle when rebuilding a motor, so that's what I'm gonna do. If I can open the damn thing. Alright, that was ridiculous. Get a screwdriver. I'm just gonna pour this whole quart down. Pint. I'm going to put in the whole pint. This stuff ain't cheap either. It's like 22 bucks at the O'Reilly's. Then again, nothing's cheap at O'Reilly's. I'll save that rant for another day. Son of a bitch. Get oil over the exhaust. Might as well put the breather back in. Try this dipstick again. Nope, still not registering. All right, what's next? Alright, so that should take us up to 4 quarts, roughly. Alright. So, tighten down the distributor so that we should get low pressure as we crank. Let's see what happens. I don't want to keep cranking for too long, but it sounds like that starter is struggling. But we're getting oil pressure. Man, that starter sounds like it's struggling. It's not warm. Might just be worn out. Who knows? But we're getting oil pressure. I'm getting... I can see the air moving, so... I think what I'm going to try next is... I want to set the piston number 1 at top dead center compression. I think I just had it. Blew my finger out of the hole. I have to go backwards here. Yeah. That ain't happening. Try that again. Alright, that just blew my finger out. Should be close. I have to double check it though. Alright. We'll put this down in cylinder 1. And it looks like we're pretty close to top dead center already. See if I can show what I'm seeing. Right. So I have, there's one valve. You see that one valve is closed. And is that the other valve? Let's see. Just to rotate the head a little bit. Alright, so it's one valve closed, and yeah, sure enough. Alright, so the other valve is closed as well. You can see this one's seated, and that one's seated. Okay, so they're both seated, and if we switch the view around, I'll be able to see the piston is... Where's the cylinder? Okay. So I've got, looks like about that much room to go before top dead center. Here's the top of the piston right here. I don't know if that's visible. This looks to be the head gasket, the top of the cylinder wall. So let's put that. Let's put the camera right here for now. And I'll manually crank the motor a little bit. Okay, so it's coming back up. point a camera at a camera. How's that? Okay. So here's the piston, top of the piston. This should be the head gasket right there. I'm coming up on top dead center. Alright, so that's top dead center. So now that we're at top dead center number 1, let's make sure, let me see, which one do I want to be number 1? Well, take the cap off the rotor and off the distributor. Alright, so get the cap off the rotor. Now, I'm pretty sure I set this before I put the motor in, but I'll show you what I'm looking at. So I've got cylinder 1 is at top dead center, we saw that, and I have the rotor pointing roughly at cylinder 1. Let's see how that lines up with the cap. See. So outward, outward, outward. Okay. So we want it roughly pointing this way. Which gives us number 1 right there. Right? Get over there. Come on. There we go. Alright, so I like the way the distributor is sitting to be number 1. I mean, for it to be in top dead center for number 1. So I'm calling this one number 1. So I'm just going to put a mark roughly the center of that. I'll lift my cap off. And that actually works out very well. So what I did was that black line lines up with one of the posts on the distributor cap, and I'll call that post spark plug number 1. And if you look at where the rotor is sitting, get the right angle. There's a rotor. There's 1. I mean, I'm pretty damn close. So that's how I'll set up the distributor initially. I'll wire up all the spark plugs from there, and we'll see how it goes. But it's going to move as I loosen it and tighten it again, so we got the mark. We should be good. Come on. All right. Yeah, I knew it was going to move. All right. A little bit more. Now it just moved again, but we don't care because we got a mark on the distributor, so. I had to make sure the clamp was actually sitting on top of the distributor. Let's see. Alright, so all 4 screws are tight. So this is roughly what we want. The vacuum advance sort of pointing, and maybe a 45-degree angle to the center line of the motor. And that way we get room to adjust back and forth as necessary for final timing. And then on the other side, we have the black mark lining up with this post up here in the distributor. So this will be plug number 1, and work my way around in the firing order. But first, so I don't forget, plug the wiring back in. It goes in like so. Okay, that's good. Power and attack. Alright, that's good. Alright, so now I have to find the gap for the plugs. I'm not sure what it is offhand. Plugs in, put the spark plug wires on, and what else? I need to wire up an ignition switch and run a fuel line. And that should do it. We should be ready to fire this up tomorrow maybe. Dan Chuck battery hold down. Only came with 1 nut. 2 washers, but only 1 nut. See if I can find another nut. Alright, I'm calling that done. Give it a little turn again. See what we get for oil pressure this time. Got good oil pressure. Cables aren't warm, that's a good sign. So I should probably run this over to the charge, to the alternator. To the back here. Left my flashlight on. Alright, that'll die soon. So I set up my plugs to 45 thousandths gap. And now I will attempt to install plugs. Alright, now we wire. I've got to cheat because I don't remember the firing order offhand. The interwebs will help. So, start with number one. So number one, obviously that one's number one. Ends any different? Yeah. Okay. There's one. So it ain't pretty, but it should suffice for now. These two are running behind the throttle linkage. I think that'll be okay. Back there. Back down here. These two are just draped for now. Have to zip tie these up to something. Maybe. I've also got a linkage bracket. So the transmission cable should hook up to one of these. Looks like this one. Yep. All right. And then how does that mount? So I don't need these two. So we're saying these are supposed to connect to here, but I have a feeling that's going to get in the way of the throttle. No. Well, that's good. And this will bolt on here. Should probably put that on first. Bracket. Bolt. Let's see how that goes. I'll get a ratchet in here. Let's see. Alright, that's good and tight. Now, figure out how to attach this guy. So if he's supposed to go behind or in front. I think in front. Let's see. Yeah. Can do that. So for now I can do this. It's kind of a tight fit. and this. Alright. It's a little sloppy, but it'll give me something to start with. Got an old cotter pin, a washer, and I just need to figure out how I'm going to attach it up here. I'm going to need a turn spring somewhere too. So this is actually, like right here, seems to be pretty straight. But to take it over to the carb linkage really puts a good bend on it. Not really a bend, but it takes it out of a straight line. So I wonder, figure something else out. I don't want it going on an angle. It's going to wear funny. Alright. I'm going to call it a night. It's 7 o'clock my time. Got to clean up, shower, get something to eat, give the dog some attention. That's it for now.